What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another supply and demand backtest session. And I'm going to go over this trade that I went into this morning. Um, Price ended up going the opposite direction than I thought it was going to go, but I ended up making an adjustment and jumping into that trade and made my money back. I did lose some money at first and then made it back, and I'm going to show you guys that result once we're done. So the first thing I'm going to do is mark up market structure from the 15-minute time frame to the 4 hours. So we're just going to do the full scope. And then we're going to discuss why price went the opposite direction than I thought it was going to go. So be right back. All right, so I'm going to put our vertical line here. So when we look at price here, we can see that this was a valid supply zone here. That's what made price ultimately start to shoot down and eventually get down to this point. So let me make this yellow. So we hit it here and it goes all the way down to here. And eventually we have a good demand zone down here. So I'm going to put that down here so that way we can see that. And then we had a base demand zone here as well. And then eventually price broke that and respected it when it went down here. And then it respected it when it came back up to here. I see a good demand zone down here. Price respected it here, pushed price all the way back up to this point. And then we actually see a good single candle supply zone up here. So I'm going to draw my zones in these areas. So now, once I draw these, we're going to go to, this is a zone up here as well. We'll just put that. Then we're going to move on to the 30-minute. All right. So now let's move on to the 30-minute. Let's a vertical line here. And then, so we see that price went up to here. So this looks like a valid supply zone here. We're going to make this green. Where's my green line at? So we're going to put that there. And then, of course, price started respecting this area as a demand zone here. Started pushing up. We see a valid supply zone here, which push price down to there. Yeah, that's good. Then I'll say that there's a demand zone up here. So then we'll draw zones. Make them all green. Now let's move on to the 1 hour. So now when we look at price here, so we can see that this price eventually came down to this single candle demand zone here. Let's make this red. And then we see that there was also a demand zone, a supply zone up here as well. Went all the way down to here. Expected that there. And then we kind of see it even down to here, a base demand zone, and then down here. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to draw our zones in these areas. Now we want to move on to the 4 hour. This is the 4 hour time frame. So now we see that price broke this zone and ultimately eventually came down to this demand zone here. And that's where it kind of ended a little bit. So we want to make this purple. And then we see there's another demand zone here. So we're going to put that here. There was a base supply zone here. And then we have another supply zone up here. So now we're going to draw our zones. Let's see. So now when we analyze price, we could see that we were in the bear market. All right, so my computer was acting up, guys. Sorry about that. So what I got into this trade this morning, it looked like that we were in the bear market, but it actually looked like that we were actually, but it looked like that price was actually testing the demand zone here, because I can kind of see the structure. So that's why price went up. And really, in reality, it did close above this zone and went up and then tested it and came back down and tested this area again. So that's what made price go bullish. But let's go to the smaller time frame so we can get a closer look. So when we really look here, we could see that this was a 1 candle demand zone here. So let me actually pull this up. Let me just pull this up to here. Then we had a supply zone here. Draw that and push this all the way up to here. So we had a 1 candle demand zone here. You can see it happened twice, hit this, came back, and then it hit it again, and then it retested. And then this was a 1 candle demand zone here as well. So let's draw that. All right. So now let's go to the 30-minute. You can see that price pushed up, and it looks like it was respecting this demand zone, the supply zone, and then it looks like it did a pullback. So let's go to the 15-minute. So there was a lot of successful bear candles here. So what I initially thought that price was going to drop down and test this demand zone again and then go up. So I was going to catch the sell and go down instead. And that's a mistake I made. But really, in reality, there was a demand zone here, because you can see that price did a one candle demand zone and went up. We had a demand zone down here because price climbed up and closed above it and went up to this supply zone here. Okay. So real reality, price tested this demand zone and went up. So that's why it went up. So what I should have actually did was actually drew my demand zone here and wait to see if price closed below this demand zone, then sell it, or went above it. So I automatically thought price was going to sell, but it ended up going up. So I did suffer a loss because price did push down, but then rejected this area and went up. And then I got into the buy and made my money back. So here is where price went up. So we're going to say that this was 250, over 250 points here. And then ultimately we wanted, because see, price ended up breaking this last structure for this bullish move. And then this was the last structure from this move here. So we know that price is going to push this over and create a swing high up here. So that's what I'm going to aim for, the swing high, or at least for this liquidity up here. So this is going to be at least over 1,000 points. All right. So let's play it and see how price played out. So price played with us and looked like it was going to buy up. Sell, but it was kind of like a bear trap. And so price started going up, got into here. Now I want to say that price kept on pushing up to here. I think I got in somewhere in here, or maybe down here. And so ultimately, this candle closed above, and I want to say I got all of this, and I think I jumped out. So this was a total of, I think, 500 some points from getting into here. Yeah, maybe about 500 points. So that's when I got into here and went all the way up to here. And then ultimately, price did pull back a little bit and then went up some more. So it went up a total of 1,000 points and then even higher. So it really killed this high as well, and this high here. And then I think it started, started pulling back, and it respected another demand zone here, because this acted as supply zone here, and then demand zone respected it and went up some more. So that's how it went bullish. So this is understandable why it went bullish, because of this candle formation. There was a demand zone here that price respected before, and it came back and respected that same area. So it makes perfect sense why price went up, because it really broke this structure and retested that. So that's why price went up. So it's just all about paying attention to the structure a whole lot more. That's what I need to do. That's how I was able to make my money back. So I'm going to show you guys the results now. So basically, so when I put in that sell, when that candle respected that demand zone, it kind of pushed back. It looked like we were about to make some money, but then it reversed. So I lost $344. Then when I got in on that bullish candle, that's how much I made, $994. So I profited $650 from that. So we made our money back on that. So initially, when we go all the way back here, you know, so we're going to look over this again. So let me erase everything. So when we mark up this 15-minute time frame, we're going to mark up the zones again. This was a base demand zone here. And then this was a base supply zone up here. And guess what? Now it makes sense why price went bullish, because price respected this area as a demand zone. Previously, it respected it as a supply zone. It hit up to here and went down to here. So that's what I missed. And then, of course, we had a supply zone up here, of course. And then we had it here and up here and up there. So it makes sense as to why price bought up, because there was a supply zone here. That's what made price push down to go up to here. And then it broke that same zone, retested it, and then came back down and retested that same zone. The market does that to zones all the time. And that's ultimately why price shot up and then came across this zone and retested it and went up, and then retested this zone and went up some more. So it makes perfect sense as to why price was bullish. So, but that's it for this supply and demand training. We were just going to go over that. You know what? We'll do one more example. Won't hurt. So let's do AU. So we're going to go all the way back, mark up the 15-minute time frame to the 4-hour. All right, so let's get started. So we could see that this is a base demand zone here. And I want to make my horizontal lines all purple, so that way we don't take too much time. So this was a demand zone here, went all the way up, and then this was a base supply zone up here. And then you can see that price respected another demand zone pretty much right in this area here. And then we had another supply zone here. Well, no, another base demand zone here. Okay. And that's what made price go all the way up and ultimately hit this demand zone up here. And then we see that there was a base supply zone here, or but really single candle supply, no, a base supply zone here, dropped all the way down in there. And we had a zone here as well. And then price, a little bit of a base supply zone here. That's what pushed price up. So I'm going to mark these up here. So now we're going to move on to the 30-minute. I'm going to do the same exact thing. And so then when price broke this last zone, there was a single candle demand zone here that pushed price all the way up, didn't even touch this previous zone, and then went down. There was another single candle demand zone here. And you can see price respected it here and then broke here and respected it, and then ultimately went down to here. There was a base demand zone here. So we want to do our zones for this. Go to the 1 hour. And so we see price respected this area, retested, and went all the way down. And we see that this was small base supply zone here. Really, I see one here. Small base supply zone here. Supply zone there. Or really a small single candle. And then there was a base demand zone here. Excuse me, and ultimately it pushed price up to here. Then eventually broke it, it respected it as well and went back down. And then this was a base demand zone here as well. And then price went down here. So now what we're going to do is let's put our zones against these areas. And we're going to go to the 4 hour. There was a base supply zone, demand zone here. Price respected it, went up to here. And then we had one down here as well. So this is on the 4 hour. So now we're going to go all the way to current price. All right, so now I see a base demand zone here. As well. So I can see price coming down and testing this demand zone and going bullish. But let's confirm that on the 1 hour. Yeah, see, it looks like price is respecting that right now. 30-minute, yep, 15-minute. So at this point, I'll draw a further demand zone. So we could see that there was another demand zone here, but then there's a base demand zone forming here. So I'm just going to put that here. And then I'm looking for price to shoot on up. So it looks like it's going to create a swing high and maybe second swing low down here and then go up. So this is the last structure for bearish, for bullish, last structure for the. Give me a second, guys. All right, so I'm back. So we see that this is a demand zone here. So then I would be looking to put my risk to reward tool down in this area, looking to catch that swing low down here. And then if it starts to push up down here, catch 14 pips to this point. Then ultimately target this liquidity all the way up here, if it even goes that far. Now, if it starts to buy up from this last candle, then I'll focus on getting 14 pips, which will be this target. And then of course, ultimately get this target. So let's see what price ends up doing. Yeah, swing low. Something told me it will probably even come back down to here. So then put my entry down to here. So then ultimately goes up from here. Talking about 15 pips up to this point. Okay, so it created this swing low down to this point. Okay, so I was close, but let's just say from down here. So let's redo this. So, which we drew another demand zone down here. So that means that we did a good job drawing it. So let me just take this out. So price broke this last structure, bullish structure. Then we have our last structure here. So we're looking for price to go over that. So price started pushing up to here. So then I'm looking to get 15 pips here. So I'll just move this up to here. Then ultimately target all this liquidity up here, like we talked about before. All right, so let's see what happens. So pushes from up to there. So we started getting in, let's see, from talking about from there. So that is all the way up to here, 12 pips. So we almost hit our target. Pull back. Okay, so we were probably overall bearish, but might be creating that second swing low. Let's see if we eventually hit our target. Okay, so we hit it there. So let's say we got in here. So if we had got in here and it would have pulled back and I would have just jumped out. Let's say we got in here, 17 pips, so we would have won that. That's good. So eventually we did go bullish. Let's see if we ultimately hit our target up here, which we did. So yep. So we were bullish. Price just pulled back and created the base a little bit lower, but we weren't wrong. So that's good. So yep. So that's it for the supply and demand training. And see you guys next time. Bye.